Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Says it's working. We're good? Okay. Wow, what a start to today. What a start to today. That was just perfect. Perfect timing. Okay, thank you, Daniel. I see Daniel's over in Zapstream. Okay. We got mixed reviews. It sounds like everybody can now hear. Spaceman's over in Zapstream. Daniel zapped 88 sats. It's going to be a good show. Despite our very, very hectic, manic, catastrophic morning here, we're going to be just fine. Okay, so we can hear me, right? I don't want to keep talking to myself. Okay, we're good. We're taking the majority here. Okay, good morning. Let's try this again for the third time, because the first time I completely messed up. I forgot what the purpose of the show was. So it's a good thing you guys didn't hear that. Hello out there. We're on the air. Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Bitcoin Journey. This show focuses on actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners. And it's great to have you here today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking on the time, the responsibility, and showing up. Because the best thing about Bitcoin is that it's voluntary. No one's paying you to be here. No one's forcing you to watch this. No one has you at gunpoint saying, use this currency, or you're going to jail, or you're fined, or you're going to take your business away. So we got a good show today. It was one of those days where the show is a little bit late today. I apologize for that. We had a couple of issues around the house here, but they're all settled now. But that's okay. That's part of life. Shit happens. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare today, but I do have like 4 or 5 things I want to talk about. I got a whole nother thing here in regards to the secret transition to Bitcoin. And then I got a couple other things to show and to showcase. So let's get to it. Clean your machine. Good morning, my friend. Killer, Jason, Daniel's over here in both. Love to see that. Pipeline Podcast. Good to see you back here, my friend. We got a bunch of people saying no sound. Good morning, Ginger. Andrew, good morning, my friend. And we got Charles. We can tier you. So that's a good way to say it. We can tier you. Judson says, lip reading. He said, buy more Bitcoin. Oh my God. I don't think I need to tell you anymore, right? If you're watching the show, you probably know what's going on right now. For some reason, I have no idea why or how it's possible, but the average person still has no idea what's happening. Even Bitcoiners are like, is Trump going to buy Bitcoin? Oh, Trump came out with an NFT collection on Bitcoin. He's a shitcoiner. It's like, you guys don't understand what the scale of what's about to happen here. I also just saw that the US government's selling their coins. Good. As long as they're not selling it directly to BlackRock, I'm more than happy with that. Who cares? They shouldn't be able to seize people's Bitcoin and keep it. It's not how life works, especially when it was earned fairly. It was the Silk Road, I think, Bitcoin that they're selling today. That was earned fairly. The guy started a business, started a website. It was the people moving Bitcoin and moving drugs around that were the problem there, not our guy. So Silk Road, hopefully in 11 days from now, they're going to free Ross on day 1. But in the meantime, they're going to sell Bitcoin back to the market. Maybe they're just moving the Bitcoin to Ross. Could you imagine? 69,000 Bitcoin going to Ross day 1? That'd be something. Oh my God, that coffee tastes good. Okay, so anyways, the point of where I was going with that is like Trump has taken office in 11 days. He's made it very clear that he's going to be doing something with Bitcoin. I don't know what that is. Some people know what that is. I don't personally. I have some ideas and thoughts that I'm going to share today. But the point is we have a Bitcoin-friendly president in the most influential country on the planet. That's a pretty good fucking sign. That'd be like, I don't know how a sign could be more clear than that. I just don't. I have no idea. Okay, what else we have? Who else is in here? Dick Cheney's negligent discharge shock. Okay, we're good now. You're good now, Big Daddy. Oh man, that's good stuff. Okay, let me know where you're watching from today. If you're in the Zap stream, say hi. If you're in Rumble, say hi. Especially Rumble. We don't hear too much from the Rumble community, so more like a whisper than a rumble over there. Let's see what's going on. Oh, we got one person watching. I don't know what to do with Rumble. But anyways, we're going to stick to it because Rumble's buying Bitcoin. They're going to be having Bitcoin on their platform. And just like everything, we need to be ready for when that day comes. Do you guys like my sweater today too? I don't think I've ever worn this on the show. It's one of my favorite sweaters from knggolf. Golf more. And I think it has a little, yeah, there's the logo on the back. It's a great hoodie. One of my favorite designs. Pipeline says currently at 82,000 sats in my $5 a day challenge. There you go. We pieced it together for you. Don't worry. Hey, we got Stu, one of our newest probably Bitcoin journeyman on the channel here. But I can't skip over Mert, one of our other Bitcoin journeymen here. Hi. Can someone see how much Bitcoin we have in our account using Bitcoin address? Does this pose a privacy issue? Monero XMR claims to solve this problem by offering complete anonymity. How do you say that? I don't know how to say that. I know what I want to say. Any comment? Yeah. Here's my advice. This is a great question right now, actually. Here's my advice, and I want to trademark this phrase. Stack sats on chain, spend sats on Lightning. And I think if you just follow that, if that's like your guiding principle here within Bitcoin, you're going to do just fine in terms of privacy and in terms of saving. Because what I mean by that is whenever you buy Bitcoin like a big chunk and you want to put it into your cold storage, that's where it goes on chain and it stays there. And you don't ever spend from that address. You don't ever spend from that wallet. You don't send anybody Bitcoin from that wallet. You don't send Bitcoin out of that wallet, period. That's your long-term, 50-year, 100-year family generational wealth stays there forever. If you ever did want to send some, if you want to spend some of that Bitcoin, if you had to, if something came up, then you actually send it to your Aqua wallet, you swap it to Lightning Liquid, and then you send it to another address or pay directly from there. But you never spend your Bitcoin on chain. You always swap it to something first. That kind of breaks the chain, not officially, like again. And I think it's Craig who's been kind of saying this, which I love. Like that's going to be a good thing to do. It's not going to protect you from like the CIA or the DOJ coming after you. They're probably going to figure out what you did. But if you're just like trying to be somewhat more private about your Bitcoin, that's the best way to do it. So stack sats on chain, spend sats on Lightning. Does that make sense? So all of it goes to your cold storage if you have to, if an emergency comes up, or like you just have some earmarked for a new quad down the road. Then you take that Bitcoin from your cold storage, you move it to Aqua wallet, you swap it onto Lightning, and you make the payment with Lightning. You don't ever pay anybody with on-chain. Just good practice for privacy. But yeah, I mean, you don't need a new coin for that. Definitely not. Monero might solve the problem, but it doesn't have any sort of traction there. I would avoid Monero at all costs, honestly. Brennan says, is it better to have one big UTXO in a wallet or multiple? Example, if you had one Bitcoin. Yeah, going off of that question, I think this is a perfect follow-up to that. So I would not suggest ever keeping your Bitcoin in one big UTXO. It just doesn't make any sense to do that. So let's say that you have one Bitcoin. Let's talk through an example of how this thing could look in terms of your storage. Because this is kind of like a big question for a lot of people. I think that this is one of the most important questions that people should be asking. So you got one Bitcoin. Let's say you want to split it up into a few UTXOs, or you're just moving it all from an exchange onto your wallet now. How do you do that? I would say you take about 40 or 50 million sats, move it one UTXO. I would take another 25, 30 million sats, create another UTXO, and then take like a couple fives, another UTXO, and then you're probably good. Maybe do a couple of like 1 million just for the stuff that you might be spending in a few years or 5 years from now. So that's kind of what I would make it look like 50, 40 to 50, 25 to 30, 10 to 50 in a couple, and then some fives and then some ones. That's how I would split it up. And then in the future, you're going to keep that 40 or 50% forever. It's never going to move from there. So you don't have to worry about transaction fees. It's all in one UTXO. You don't have to worry about privacy concerns. I mean, except it really depends how you're doing it legally too. That's a whole nother issue here though. Like if you don't have a proper will set up and somebody knows you have Bitcoin and they go after it, then your Bitcoin will be doxed publicly in Canada here through probate. So that's a whole nother side road that you have to worry about. I don't know. I don't think there's much you can do to get around that one. There are a few things, and that's one of the things we've been talking about within the inheritance protocol from Craig and I for SuperBacked protocol, is actually setting up your own trust, which is actually very easy to do. Apparently, I haven't done it yet myself, but it is something I plan on doing in the very near future for myself. So that's a whole nother side road there. But for the most part, you're going to keep that 40, 50 million sats forever in that UTXO. It's like your generational wealth. That's what you carry down. That's like your, I don't know, 500 acres of land that your family keeps for 100 years. The next one, let's say it's 25, 30 million sats. That's what I would suggest using for like lending. So if you want to go to the bank, you say, I want a loan. Here's my Bitcoin. I want some cash. I want some dollars. Then you give them that UTXO, or you move it somewhere else so they can't see that that's where it came from. You know what I mean? Like you kind of have to just think this whole thing through, and it's very different for every single person out there. It's hard to say this is how it should be because everybody has different balances, different needs, different things that they'll be spending it on in the future. And then your other ones, let's say you have some tens in there. Those will probably just live there for a while. But then you got a couple millions, maybe a couple 2 millions. Those are the ones that you move from whenever you want to spend it in the future. Let's say you want a new truck. Bitcoin goes up to $1 million. You want to spend some of it on a new truck. Then you can just move it to your Aqua wallet, swap it on chain, and that's where you spend it from. So stack sats on chain, spend sats on Lightning. If you just use that as your like guiding principle, then you shouldn't have to worry too much about privacy. Hope that makes sense. TWT says, awesome sweatshirt. Yeah, I can't believe I've never worn this one before on here. Again, this is one of my favorite designs that we have from King. Golf more. Just a good phrase. Good design, good phrase. So the tough thing about this is we have a lot of our designs that are like for anybody. Like you don't have to be a golfer to wear them. But this one specifically is for golfers. So if you're a golfer, grab yourself one of these. I was just talking to another Bitcoiner last night, and he ordered one of the head covers from the King site. Should I bring it up quickly? Yeah, let's do a little fun thing here today. In case anybody wants some King stuff, I'm going to give you guys an offer today that you can't refuse. So here is knggolf.ca. You got a bunch of hats. You got a bunch of head covers. Some really cool head covers. Here's the Golf More hoodie. This is the one I'm wearing. 69 bucks Canadian. Like, I feel like we need to up our prices. That's kind of stupid, honestly. You got pink, you got blue, and you got the little king logo on the back there. Another one, this is the one I wear all the time on the show. This is the king. This is a great hoodie. So one of those, what would that be? How can I give you guys a discount on this? I think we are going to be bumping up our prices here because it just makes sense. That's like you go to you get a couple subs from fucking Subway for $60 nowadays. So we do need to bump those prices. But in the meantime, so 69,000 sats. How can I give you guys a deal on this? If you want to pay me in Bitcoin and if you want a hoodie, just reach out to me. Shoot me an email, send me a message on Nostr, get a hold of me. And I'll give you a little discount if you're going to be paying with Lightning. So you're stacking on chain, you're spending with Lightning, you're buying knggolf hoodies, and you're supporting Bitcoiners. Thank you, TWT, though. It is a great hoodie. Bangkok Bert. Now is the time to get back to work and stack harder. Yeah. Oh, man, I have so much stuff to talk about today. This could honestly be a 3-hour show today. It's not going to be, but it could be. Hey, Bit Billy. What's up, everybody? What's up to you, my friend? We got a couple of zaps here that I want to share. We got 420 sats. It looks like it came from Zapstream. And that was who? The Grinder. Good morning, sovereigns and future sovereigns. Good morning, Grinder. Thank you for the sats, my friend. And we got 1,000 sats. The note says, we are toxic, maximalist. We stack sats and don't give a shit. I feel like I know who that came from, but I don't know for sure. And we got 420 sats from Letha. Thank you, Letha. Said, good morning, friends. Good morning, Letha. BitBilly is actually our current holder. That's hard. Current holder of the highest zap in show history last week. 60,000 sats. BitBilly. So if you want to top that, you got some work to do. But the point is, thank you, BitBilly. Very much appreciated. I've been helping him with a couple different things he's got going on. Taking it slow. We're doing it through Messenger and phone calls, and it seems to be working pretty good, I think. So he's on Nostr now. He's becoming a Nostr legend, I would say. So thank you, BitBilly, for the zap last week. That made my week. Renita, good morning to all buying Bitcoin. Heck yeah. Is it crashing or something? We got some action on Rumble today. What's up, Rumble? Say hi, please, if you're watching over there. Okay, we got another frog over on Rumble. Love that. That's a great name. Love frogs. Said, good morning. And is ShakePay becoming a member of Zero a good thing? What's Zero? I want to say no. Anytime somebody becomes a member of a financial institution, it's never a good thing. I've kind of stopped using ShakePay, honestly, for the last couple of years buying Bitcoin. I used to buy all my Bitcoin with ShakePay. Okay, so that stands for the Canadian Investment Regulatory Organization. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good idea at all. But I don't know enough. That's just kind of my first original thought here. It was founded in 2023. Okay, that's pretty fucking sketch. Yeah. I mean, if you're buying Bitcoin in Canada, make sure you're using Bitcoin well. Or Bull Bitcoin. I would not suggest using ShakePay. Over the last couple of years, I've noticed that ShakePay is much more aligned with government, team government. Whereas Bitcoin Well, Bull Bitcoin, Beaver Bitcoin, I think too, they're much more aligned with Bitcoiners, Team Bitcoin. I think they would take a lot of force to try to get some information from Bitcoin Well and Bull Bitcoin. So that's who I've been buying with. I trust them a lot more. And the nice thing about those two companies is that I don't really have to trust them either, because when I send them dollars, they send me Bitcoin. They don't hold my dollars. They don't hold any Bitcoin for me. They don't even give me the option. I send them dollars. They send me Bitcoin. And so every week I just have a recurring buy on Bitcoin Well, just so I don't forget to buy some Bitcoin. And I think everybody should be doing that. It's only like 20 bucks, I think, per week. And then if I have some cash, I just buy Bitcoin. But just so I don't ever forget, I set up a recurring buy with Bitcoin Well straight to my Lightning address every week. And then once my Lightning wallet sats amount gets up, then I send it to cold storage. That's the plan. So again, if you're not on Bitcoin Well yet, if you're in Canada and the US, you got to be doing it. All right. Yeah, see, this is exactly pipeline. I'm loving this 10% crash. It's so good for my $5 a day DCA challenge. Another mindset shift we have to make here is that we are not sellers. We are buyers. So when the price goes up, it's great, I guess. Your net worth goes up, you're a Bitcoiner, you're happy, everybody's feeling good. But we're buyers. So when you're buying, you want it to be cheaper. You want to get more sats in exchange for your dollars that you're giving them. So honestly, when Bitcoin goes down, if you have a buyer's mentality, there's nothing better that could happen. And that's why Bitcoin, honestly, is such a win-win, because you can't lose. Bitcoin goes up, you get richer. Bitcoin goes down, you get more for your time and energy. Because you take that time and energy, if you're earning it in fiat, you convert that to sats. And in that conversion, when Bitcoin price is low, you get more sats. You can't lose. That should have been the title today. You can't lose in Bitcoin. Exactly. This is so true. This is so true. This is the time you should be panic buying, not at 100K. It's so backwards from how everybody thinks. But it's hard. And that's the one thing that I've really tried to do in terms of my investment mentality, other than looking at myself as a buyer versus a seller, is every time I see something happening, whether it's like a new token or a new stock or MicroStrategy shooting up, I always ask myself, like, what am I going to do here? And then I usually do the opposite of that, honestly, because if you think about it, when other people see that same news and information, they want to do, everybody thinks the same. So you want to do the opposite of that. That's how you make money. That's how you invest well, is do the opposite of what the majority of people are doing. When most people are buying, you're selling or just sitting on the sidelines. When most people are panicking and selling, you're buying. It's a really hard thing to do in your brain, but I think it's a really good mentality to have personally. But again, what do I know? I'm just a guy who lives in the woods and has a YouTube channel. Don't take my advice on anything. Timber Crusher, F.A. Hayek in 1984 said, "I don't believe we shall ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government. That is, we can't take it violently out of the hands of government. All we can do is by some sly roundabout way, introduce something that they can't stop." Whew. My favorite quote in the world, probably. Love that one. Hey, we got Kieran over in Zapstream. Always a nice day when Kieran stops by to say good morning. Good morning, Kieran. And somebody sent 2,100 sats here saying a stack of Satoshis a day keeps the evil away. I thought that said the devil away, but the evil away. Stay humble, my friends. Thank you. 2,100 sats sent anonymously through this link this time. And pretty good one there. I like that. I like that. Yeah, this is another great quote, actually. I think this is from Naval. Bitcoin is a new financial system masquerading as a get-rich-quick scheme. Yep, true. Truth. Spaceman zapped 200 sats. Thank you, Spaceman. Good morning, all you super stackers, the legendary Jor chat squad, and of course, Jor and Arnie. Where is Arnie today? Arnie? He's at his perch. You guys would love to see a live shot of Arnie right now. He's at his new perch. He just likes looking out the window. So we put our little ottoman there for him to sit on and look out the window. Good morning, Andy man. Good morning. Golf is cool, but I'm not great at it. But that's okay. You can also just appear to be a golfer. People see you wearing this shirt, they're going to assume that you're a good golfer. As long as you don't have to golf with them, then you're fine. They just see you. They're like, oh, that guy golfs. He's probably a legitimate golfer. They're not going to ask you to go golf with them, so you don't have to prove yourself. So, yeah, I mean, it's when you start doing the math on this pipeline, it says if every Bitcoin figures out where we're headed with Bitcoin and throws in a measly 500 million, with over 2,000 billionaires, that's 250 billion into Bitcoin when exchanges only have 2 million coins. It's just math. And for some reason, people can't do math. I don't know why. I don't know why. So are we actually crashing here? What's going on? Why is everybody saying we're crashing? Oh, 92,000. That's not bad. Man, 2 months ago, you guys would have killed to be at 92,000. Oh, wow. This is a bold play. I will never sell my Bitcoin. I'm taking it to the grave as a donation to humanity. Wow. Love that. I don't know. Is that the play, though? I don't know. BitBilly agrees. This is some great advice from a guy who's been here. $152,000. I'm not listening to anything but Bitcoin talk. 100% focused. Learned my lesson with shitcoins long ago. Guys, honestly, guys and girls, in the next couple months here and beyond, you're going to see everywhere you look, someone's going to be trying to sell you a new coin, a new token. This is going to be implemented into this system. This is going to be using AI to do this. This is going to be, who knows? The best thing you can do here, you have to remind yourself. You actually have to, like, daily reminder to yourself, 100% laser focused on Bitcoin. Will other coins do well? Yes. Will they do better than Bitcoin? Maybe in the short term, but you can't time things unless you're a professional or you're really lucky. But for the most part, you buy Bitcoin, you hold on to that for the next 20, 30, 50 years. There's nothing that's going to outperform that. So that's why you should be thinking as a buyer versus a seller. Thinking like a seller is very fiat. Buy low, sell high. That's what we were trained to do as kids. That's bullshit. Buy whenever you can. Whenever you have fake money, you trade that for real money. That's the new investment strategy. Whenever you earn some fake money, you convert that into real money at whatever rate you can get. It's not complicated. This stuff is not hard. It's just hard because our brains are so fucking wired to be buy low, sell high dipshits. And we're not. We are, let's check what we got here. I need to stop swearing too, I think. We got 70 people in here, 30 likes. Rick, what are we doing? Grinder says Bitcoin goes up 500%. Everybody says we're in a bear market. Bitcoin goes down 15%. It's crashing. I don't get it either, man. I don't get it. But that's because everybody thinks like a seller. What are you selling? Why are you looking at it? Why do you want the price to go up? Are you selling your Bitcoin? No, it's just because people want to feel better. That's why they want some sort of like confidence boost that they made the right decision. You know you made the right decision. And the longer you spend in Bitcoin, the more sure of that you are. That's the beauty of this thing. You buy as much as you can, you learn as much as you can, and you cannot go wrong. Muslim Bitcoiner, the Cali fire is burning as a reminder of whether using houses as a store of value are still good in the future, especially if you're not living in it. That's what I'm so excited about in the future here is there's going to be so much capital that's sitting like empty real estate because that was the best place to hold your energy before, gold and real estate. But now you can have something way better performing, much more liquid, and you can spend it whenever you want to. Or you can hold on to it as long as you want to. So think about when that 500 trillion of inactive assets starts flowing into Bitcoin. We're not far away from that. Daddy-O, good morning. Good morning. Okay, how did Rick, we did pretty good there. We got 8 new likes from your comment, so thank you. Smash, but smash like, smash, smash, smash. Oh, smash by. Gotcha. Smash by, smash like, smash, smash, smash. Jason says, love the crown back shoulder. Yeah, I like that too, because we don't have anything on the front that says knggolf for our logo. So we put it back here. I do want to eventually, I don't know, I have too many things on the go, but I want to make a sweater that's like for lefties, which would be this one. Because if someone's looking at you behind you or the camera, if you're a professional, then they can see it right here. And if you're righty, it'd be on your right shoulder because that's the shoulder that they see. I don't know why I guess there's too many righties out there, but I feel like there should be lefty hoodies and righty hoodies. That's how my brain works. Brent says, I already have a cold storage. Would you get a second one? How would you use it? Yeah, of course. The thing, though, that I would say is make sure that you have your first original setup of Bitcoin, your cold storage security setup, and make sure you know that like the back of your hand. Like make sure that that's bulletproof. Make sure you've gone through it 20 times. Make sure you know where everything is. Everything about that security setup, you should know where it is. Like the back of your hand. And then you might look at getting a different device. You might look at getting just a hot wallet with Sparrow. You might look at creating a multi-sig from there. And then you want to be looking further down the road to encrypt all of your backups and digital information with SuperBacked. And I hope you're not sick of me talking about SuperBacked, because my goal here for this 2025 is to get every single person watching this show in this community with SuperBacked. Because it is by far the best way to store your digital information, including your recovery phrases. Mert says, thank you for the answer. Do you have any question in your mind about Bitcoin and the future, which is not yet answered? I don't know. No, I mean, my conviction, my excitement, everything around Bitcoin has never been higher than it is today. That's for sure. Rick says that was a 6-hour show like Ben. That was nuts. I mean, I don't know. I tried watching the second part of it last night, but it was already taken off the internet. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. I learned a lot yesterday. That's for sure. That was a wild show. Wild show. And I don't even like talking about it because nobody can go watch it now. But man, I don't even know what to comment on that. Like it was like, I knew something was weird about Ben, not weird, but like different about him. And I knew that. And that's why I put so much trust in what he was saying, because I knew that there was something going on there. And so maybe for those who don't know what the hell me and Rick are talking about here. Do I talk about it? I don't know. Like this, it's really none of my business or anything like that. But anyways, I'll give you like the Coles notes of it. I don't even know how to do that. Oh, I shouldn't. Rick, why'd you mention this? So anyways, I've been watching this guy for a while now. This is, I'll do my best to, without any sort of like plan of where this is going to, I'll do my best on telling you kind of what happened. So I've been watching this guy, Rick too. Rick's been on his channel longer than I have. Rick's actually known as the historian on Ben's chat. But I've been watching Ben for just over 4 years now, I think. Going back to, no, maybe not, maybe about 4 years. And he was the guy who actually got me into Bitcoin. And it wasn't because he was talking about how high the price is going to go or anything like that. He was talking about history, the history of the Federal Reserve, the history of the wars, the history of Bretton Woods, the history of Jekyll Island, the history of 1971. He was talking about all this stuff, and he laid it out perfectly in like a 2-hour podcast I listened to. And instantly I was drawn to this guy. So I followed him I've been following him ever since. I've invested in one of his venture funds that he did. And what else? I actually worked with him for a little while. I did a little bit of work with Ben. before I started the channel here. But anyways, yesterday he came on the show and said that something to do with the fires in California. I don't want to get into it because I don't want to get this channel shut down, but it was something to do with the fires in California. And he was basically saying, if you have any friends and family in LA, tell them to get out of there. And he received this information from a very high-ranking military member who has a little bit more information than guys like you and I. So he was talking about the fires, and then he kind of just like broke down and he kind of started talking about his real identity. And I knew this before because he would drop hints. If you watched his show enough, he'd drop a lot of hints. And so I knew his name wasn't what he said it was. I knew that there was something else there, but he kind of just laid it all out on the table yesterday. Like everything that for the last 25 years that he went through, working with secret departments within the government, going after the bad guys who said they were good guys. That's kind of how he explained it, which to me would suggest like politicians, like high up CEOs. And he told a really graphic story about something that happened in his past. And that's what kind of caused him to break down. But anyway, so he's been working, I guess, with a couple different undercover agencies within the government. He's been working with Trump. He's been to Mar-a-Lago. So anyways, it was very interesting to hear. And it was very cool to see how that whole thing, because he's had a different identity since he was a child. And he talked about what happened when he was a child. Apparently he this is crazy. It's crazy that I have to explain this to people. But apparently he was like, this is what he said. And I believe it. I fully trust exactly what he said. But he said that he could do things that other kids couldn't do in terms of your mind, like intelligence. And so they put him in a separate school in Missouri, in St. Louis. And he had been working in like an undercover government fucking operation for like, I don't know how long. He said 25 years, but it goes back to when he was a kid. So anyways, his job with the YouTube channel was to tell the average person about Bitcoin, because he was working with the good guys within government. He was working with Trump in a roundabout way, Trump's team, trying to educate people on Bitcoin. And I mean, this ties perfectly into what I was going to talk about today in terms of the secret transition to Bitcoin, because this whole thing has been planned for a very long time. And if you don't believe that, I think that I don't know what to tell you. Trump didn't just wake up in 2024 and decide he likes Bitcoin. And so like a couple things I had written down on this, and I think this is a good thing to keep going with now that we're on this subject, because this is important. So last year around this time, I came out on the channel and said, Trump is a Bitcoiner. There's something going on here. Trump's a Bitcoiner. He's going to be implementing, when he wins the election, he's going to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet, kind of everything that's happening right now. And a lot of my thesis was based on what Ben was talking about. But there were other things, like General Flynn tweeted about Bitcoin back in 2015. General Flynn, if you don't know, he's kind of been one of Trump's #1 guys through the years. So he tweeted about Bitcoin back in 2015 saying, this is the future of the digital economy. Bitcoin is a Bitcoin ATM. You also had Melania, who wished Satoshi a happy birthday a couple years ago on Twitter. At this time, everybody thought that Trump hated Bitcoin. But Melania, his wife, came out and said, happy birthday, Satoshi, shared the white paper October 31st. That was a couple years ago. And then if you think about things like Trump's Uncle John, and if you start digging around in that, because if you listen to the Bitcoin conference speech that Trump gave in 2024, it's sad because most people listen to that speech and they're like, oh, Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. He didn't talk about anything. What a disappointment. He was talking nonsense for 2 hours. He didn't make any big announcements. And if you actually listen, if you go back, I've listened to Trump's speech about 5 or 6 times now, but if you listen to some of the things that he talks about in that speech, there's a lot of hints that he dropped in there. And one of them, the biggest one, I think, was his Uncle John. And he was talking about energy. He's been talking about energy for a while now in terms of Bitcoin being the new oil, the importance of energy, how much the US is going to ramp up their energy after he takes office. And so his Uncle John, he talked about him. and he was a professor at MIT. And did you guys know, this is mind-blowing, you guys can look this up yourself. If you have like an AI thing, type in who got Nikola Tesla's documents after he died. And I'm not going to make you do it right now, but go verify this. Don't trust me on this. But go type that in. Who got Nikola Tesla's documentation, all of his findings after he died? And look who it was. It was Trump's Uncle John. That's who got all of Tesla's records. So there's something to all of this. And then you think about things that we've learned lately, which is that Eric Trump and the Trumps have known Michael Saylor for 20 years. So I really think that 2025 here, this whole year, our mind is just going to explode. Even the people who kind of have an idea of like what's going on in the world, like what's really behind the curtain, our minds are going to be blown of what's rolled out here and what's introduced to the public. I can't imagine what people who are just like completely in the dark right now, how they're going to feel about everything that happens. So anyways, if you kind of subscribe to that theory, you might not have to buy all of it. I don't really care. But if you consider all of that, and you consider Trump taking office in 11 days, and if you consider the fact that Trump has built his whole team around him are all Bitcoiners. And then you start thinking about like, okay, if this has been a plan in place for a while now, do you think that they're just going to freeball it? Do you think that they're just going to shoot from the hip and hope for the best? Or do you think that, like everything within the military, it's going to be done very precisely and on schedule? So when you really stop and think about things, like there's so many things that make sense within that. And again, you could question it, but I don't care. So then you play out like, okay, so what's going to happen with Bitcoin then? What's the transition here? What's the play? Trump's not just going to buy a bunch of Bitcoin and hold on to it and hope for the best. I really believe that when Trump takes office, he's going to take over the treasury. Apparently, there's already some documentation that he already did back in 2016. Take over the treasury with the Federal Reserve. I don't know. There's just too much stuff to siphon through. But I really believe that Trump is going to be buying Bitcoin, holding it within the treasury, and then the treasury is going to introduce a new US dollar from the treasury, not from the Federal Reserve. Because you have to keep in mind here, if you do some research on what the Federal Reserve is, they're not part of the government. They're a private corporation. They're not federal at all. And they have no reserves. There's nothing there. So how do you defeat somebody like the Federal Reserve? You just stop paying attention to them. Like, what would they do? This is what I like to think through myself, is like, what would the Federal Reserve do if Trump just said, you know what, we're done. We're done with the fiat dollar, the Federal Reserve notes. We're done with that. We're buying Bitcoin. We're using our energy. We're buying Greenland for all the energy. We're buying Canada for all the energy. We're going to start mining Bitcoin. And that's what this dollar, that's what our currency is going to be backed by energy. Henry Ford wanted to do this back in the early 1900s. Tesla was talking about energy and free energy. And there's been so many innovations that have been stomped down by corrupt governments through the last 100, 200 years. So what happens when all that's unlocked? It might happen, it might not. I'm not saying that it's going to be, but I believe that it will be, because they don't really have a choice now. You can't put things back in the box once they're out. So, I mean, in terms of like, what do we do with that? I have no idea. It's just super interesting to me. Super interesting. But here's the thing. If the US comes out and says, we're buying Bitcoin, we're going to add it to the treasury, you can do some math on how quickly the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. And it's going to happen faster than people can even fathom. As soon as the US announces that they're doing that, it's over. We'll never get like, you take $1 of fake money right now, you get 1,000 sats of real money. After the US announces that they're going to be doing this, you might get 100 sats. You might get 10 sats, and then 1, and then $1 for a sat. But there's really nothing that's going to stop that or slow it down once that comes out. So again, this is what I've been saying for the last month, is just like take everything that you have, look under your couch cushions, search around, sell everything you have, and buy Bitcoin with it. You don't need to take on a bunch of debt. I wouldn't recommend that. I mean, it wouldn't be your worst idea, but responsibly, safely, take everything you have, convert it to Bitcoin, because we're never going to be able to buy this amount of real money for fake money ever again. So thanks a lot, Rick. Oh, man. Spaceman says there's a ton of opium being smoked on YouTube. People expect fireworks with buzzwords like price discovery. ETFs did the same thing. Best thing to do is stack sats and sit back and keep stacking for when it does happen. The same thing did happen with the ETFs. If you were paying attention at all, if you think back to like when they came out 2024 in January, you think back a couple months ago, it was very obvious to anybody who was paying attention that this was going to be approved in January. And then when it finally was approved, everyone's like, holy shit, I got to get some Bitcoin. Wall Street's here. It's like, just pay attention a little bit. You would have seen this whole thing coming, and we're in the exact same position right now. People need like an official announcement from somebody to tell them to do something. It could not be more obvious that Trump's going to take office and start buying Bitcoin and back the US dollar with Bitcoin. It couldn't be more obvious. People just need to wait for the TV to tell them something like that. They can't really see into the future at all, and just use like their own conviction and their own connections that they've made to guide the way. Oh, that was fun. That was fun. Okay. Kyle says, what's the downside to one large UTXO? I consolidated cold card in one chunk. Will this be an issue? No. Honestly, Kyle, if you're planning to buy more Bitcoin, which I'm assuming you are, just leave that in there. Leave it as one UTXO. Don't play around with it. Don't get cute. Just leave it. And then your future purchases, those can start being your smaller UTXOs in that wallet. So don't freak out. This is when you're thinking about your consolidations and stuff. This is kind of thinking for the future. But yeah, don't just do nothing. Just start adding sats to a different UTXO now into the future. Hey, Adam. Adam says, what do you know, Jor? I don't know. I have no idea what I know anymore. Everything's just like, there's so many things happening right now in the world, and it's impossible to keep up. Pipeline says, I've always thought about Bitcoin like a stock before last year, but now it's totally different because of its limited hard cap supply. Yeah, there's truly nothing to compare Bitcoin to, honestly. We've never had any asset like Bitcoin before. There's just so much to it. There's so much to it. And people like, one of my favorite stories that I've heard and analogies that I've heard, by the way, good morning, Scotty, is that like this is totally normal. What's happening right now? This has happened hundreds of times in the past. Every time there's a new technology, or in this case, a protocol, or a new innovation, or a change in direction of society, there's always so much pushback. And this is a story. I cannot verify if this actually happened or not, but one of the stories I've heard was back in the early 1900s when Henry Ford came out with the Model T, when they first started having self-propelled vehicles. People were so scared of those things, and they were so confused about what was happening there, that they actually had to start because everybody was used to just seeing horses and buggies. That's how they got around. They stepped outside. They saw a whole bunch of horses and buggies going around, but all of a sudden one day there was cars. And so what they had to do is they actually had to take a horse's head and put it on the front of a vehicle, so people could associate it with their brains of like, this is the way now that people get around. This is the new form of transportation. They had to see a horse's head on a vehicle just so they could make that transition in their own mind. Like, none of this is new. This innovation, these evolutions, these turnings, people call them, It's nothing new. It's happened before. I think this is the grandest scale, though, that has been done. When you're talking about money, it's a much bigger thing than transportation and industrialization and things like that. Money is the core of everything here. And when you have a money that's transparent, fair, honest, decentralized, you can't lose. Ricky Ricardo. Why hasn't the creator of Bitcoin come out and met with President-elect Trump yet? Yeah, that's good. That's a good question. I don't know. Maybe Trump might know who Satoshi is. I would bet my money that Trump knows who Satoshi is. Ginger, what's your opinion on DCA? Daily, weekly, monthly? I'm weekly, but could change if you think there's a better strategy. No, it's up to you. There's no perfect strategy for anybody. It's whatever, like whenever, Ginger, I know, what you do for work. You're a self-employed individual, which I love. And so if you're anything like me, you don't have like a consistent amount coming into your bank account every week or every 2 weeks, unless you do. Maybe you have a job that you didn't tell me about. But for me, like I don't have a consistent paycheck coming into my bank account at certain times of the month. And so I have to do things a little bit differently than most people with a job would. If you have a 9-to-5 job, you get paid the same time every week or every 2 weeks, you can much easier budget for when you want to buy Bitcoin, DCA. But for me, like I do it weekly, I just do a very small amount. Like I said, $20 a week. And then every time I have some extra cash, let's say I do a bigger job for somebody or I take a payout from something, then I just convert that into Bitcoin at the time. So people who have their own business probably DCA much differently than somebody with a 9-to-5 job, a regular paycheck. You could probably do higher DCAs if you know that you're going to get the same amount every couple of weeks in your bank account. For me, I don't. Some months I have more, some months I have much less. So that's why I put my DCA strategy at like $20 a week, because there's a good chance I'm going to have $20 in my bank account, hopefully, when that comes out. Daniel says, stack sats and get your security in order. Yes. I forgot to talk about that. That's a big part of this whole thing. It's not just buying Bitcoin, but it is making sure now you're protecting your Bitcoin. You're putting things in place to make sure that whatever Bitcoin you do have, you make it through this thing. So that's, I think, where everybody should be focused on. Thank you, Daniel, for mentioning that. Stack sats and get your security in order. And if you are somebody who doesn't really have like a good security setup right now, and you're like, holy shit, I don't know what to do. I'm scrambling, looking on YouTube, trying to figure out who I can trust. Honestly, it's probably worth it just to send me an email, set up a call. We can chat for 10 or 15 minutes. You can say what you got. I can tell you some improvements you can make, some advice, some tips, and some best practices there. So I do think that that's for somebody who has like no idea what they're doing with Bitcoin. I think that's a really good start. So just shoot me an email, set up a call. We can chat. We can figure out a plan for you in the near future and then a longer term plan as well. Hey, look at that. Paul says, setting up a node this week. Very empowering. Learning as a baby boomer. The kids don't get it yet, but they'll learn. I love that, Paul. That's so fucking awesome. Man, the chat's alive today. That's for sure. The chat's its own species, I think, today. Mark says, do we actually pay capital gains tax? No. If you're paying capital gains tax on Bitcoin right now, you're doing it wrong. So take that how you want to. Mert says, I'm holding Bitcoin not just for financial gain, but to see or to be part of something revolutionary. I see it as a historic shift, and I want to contribute and witness this transformation firsthand. Fuck yeah, I love that. That's my exact theory with this whole thing. That's why I have no issues coming onto a YouTube channel every single day and telling you to buy Bitcoin. Do you know why? And this is why I don't worry about my saying this is not financial advice. I'm telling you, this is financial advice, and you should absolutely be doing this, right? Because here's how I look at it. I'm not telling you to invest in some company where I don't know the owner. I don't know what's going to happen. There's a bunch of uncertainties. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you that everything that I have in my life is in Bitcoin. That's what I've done. Because I put in the work, I have the conviction, and I see this. I want to be part of the revolution as well. And I can't do that by keeping my time and energy in the fiat system. So when I don't say like this isn't financial advice, that's because I'm all in on Bitcoin. And if somebody's going to sue me for bad advice, if Bitcoin crashes to zero and people try to sue me, good luck. Because if I'm all in on Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes to zero, what are you going to get from me? And even if I do end up being wrong about this, and I wasted all this time talking about it on YouTube and Rumble and Zapstream, even if I'm wrong, at the end of my life, on my deathbed, I'll lay there knowing that I did everything that I could. I was doing it for the right reasons. And that's all that matters. That's the only thing that matters in your life, is when you're about to die and move on to wherever we go to, you can look back and have no regrets on how you handled things. And I wouldn't. Even if Bitcoin failed tomorrow, I would have zero regrets, because everything I've done so far in this space and everything I'll do in the future in this space is for the better of humanity. Just like Mert said here, it is historic. It is a revolution. And if we're wrong, we're wrong, but at least we fucking tried. Because what's the alternative? What's the alternative? Okay, fucking too serious today, folks. I see, oh, look at this. Wow, we got 420 sat zap, a 20,000 sat zap, 20,000 sats. Oh my God. Thank you to Anonymous too. 20,000 sats. That is so awesome. Thank you. I don't know what the reason is or why or what triggered that, but anyways, 20,000 sats, that is a big deal for me. So thank you for that. Truly. And somebody sent in 888 sats, our favorite number here, and said, miss you, Arn. Arnie, did he come by or something when I was in my rant there? Hope not. As soon as I end the show, I'll trick Arnie today, just so we can get a good look at him. Make sure he's still alive. Okay. Daniel says, did you see Robin's podcast where the guest was making the case for John Nash being Satoshi? He's the guy from A Beautiful Mind. He died in 2015. Guy makes a pretty good case for him being Satoshi. I prefer a Satoshi who is dead and those coins being lost forever. That's my theory too. I think that either Satoshi is dead or the keys have been burned. And the reason I say that is because Satoshi thought through every angle of what's coming here in the future. Everything about Bitcoin was so perfectly designed. It's the closest thing to perfect that you could ever have, Bitcoin. And so if Satoshi had the foresight to see attackers, if he had the foresight to see adoption and issues and things we're going to struggle with, if he had the foresight to see all of that, he knew Wall Street would show up. He knew the US government would show up. Maybe he was part of the US government. I don't know. But he had the foresight to see how this whole thing was going to play out. And if you think that he didn't know that his coins, I think it's less than 1 million coins. I think it's 900 and some thousand coins that Satoshi has. He knew that if they just left that wallet, if they trusted the keys to that wallet with a human being, then it would be spent. Because human beings, no matter how good they say they are, when you have hundreds of billions of dollars or trillions of dollars hidden behind 12 words, you're probably going to spend some of that. You're going to be very enticed to spend that. So I think that Satoshi had enough foresight to burn the keys, or he's dead and the keys are gone. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that he would just die and, forget where he put his key. I could be wrong. I think he either burned the keys or my third theory here is that we're actually going to see something for the world. And what I mean by that is like, if we find out, let's say we find out who Satoshi is, let's say that it was somebody good. And they're like, you know what? The world deserves this. I'm going to move 900,000 coins. Everybody who wants a portion of this, put in your Bitcoin address. Everybody gets some Bitcoin. It sounds crazy. But if you think about what Satoshi did with Bitcoin and the purpose of the whole thing, it was for fairness. It was for honesty. It was for a better future. The whole point of Bitcoin was to separate money from state, because that's the thing that's been dragging us down for the last 100 years. And so it sounds stupid. It sounds crazy that somebody would just unlock this wallet and send everybody who wants some Bitcoin. But I wouldn't rule it out. I really wouldn't. And could you imagine the shift in like people's perception around Bitcoin if they knew who Satoshi was and this person just sent them a bunch of Bitcoin? The resistance for people would go down significantly in a flash. So again, I'd say there's about a 1 or 2% chance that happens, but I don't think it's a 0% chance. And then that's gone. Then you have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about Satoshi's going to show up in 50 years and move all the coins. It's gone. It's gone to humanity, to the world. So I don't know. Wood Butcher says Bitcoin is the hill to die on, and zapped 1,000 sats. Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying here. Bitcoin is absolutely the hill to die on. Because there's no alternative. There's nothing. And you could have the best government in place. If you like Trump, if you trust Trump, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But none of it works without Bitcoin. That's what I do know. Nothing works in terms of freedom, in terms of sovereignty, in terms of our ability to go forward as a species without being enslaved. None of that works without Bitcoin. Okay, I missed so many comments here. So I don't know. I had some stuff to share. I had 4 things I wanted to share. What's the play here? What's the play? Somebody also sent in 88 sats as well. So thank you for the 88 sats. It's a great number. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get through the comments here. I'm going to go as fast as I can. I'm going to share a few things that I did want to talk about here, and then we'll move on. Let me try to bring this up in the background, though. This is hilarious to me. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. Okay, I'll get this loaded up. This is hilarious. Okay, so let's get to some comments. I'll show you this video. I'll share some other things that's happening today, and then we'll move on. Okay. Wow. There's a lot to get through here. It's going to be a challenge for me, I think. Okay, where were we here? Hey, I wouldn't rule us out. I would not rule us out, honestly. Time travel. Yep. You guys can read the comments here. I'm not going to read them out loud. I don't want to get in shit here or anything. But Jason says, what's your thoughts on Parker Lewis's take that Bitcoin needs to be spent and used, not just squirrel away banking on price appreciation, never used as money? I'm not worried about that at all. I'm really not. I think that where we're going here, Bitcoin will mostly serve as capital, but Bitcoin will also be used as currency. That's what I said. Stack sats on chain, spend sats with Lightning. And honestly, if this thing plays out like we think it's going to do, or it's going to, you have no idea how much one sat is going to be worth. So imagine a world where now we're sending around like what? I just got another zap here from somebody. 200 sats. So imagine a world today where people are sending around 88 sats, 200 sats. It's great. It's fun. But imagine when those same 200 sats buy you your rent for the month, or buy you a new wardrobe, or buy you a new laptop. Like, think about the people who have Bitcoin right now. Think how many sats they have, and think about how much they're going to be wanting to spend those in the future. So I don't worry about that at all. We're just still in the very early stages of this thing. Everybody's kind of figuring it out themselves on their own with each other. And this stuff doesn't concern me at all. Bitcoin will work itself out. And it won't be on chain, but it'll be on Lightning and eCash. Pipeline says, I work in East LA, by the way. We needed to cancel work today because of the fire and those who lost their homes where their store of value was are in my prayers. Let's hope home insurance pays out, or home insurers pay out. Yeah, that's a tough situation there in California. Lauren says, think like sailor, not a seller. I like that too. That's a good phrase. Think like sailor, not a seller. Captain Codeman, I don't really appreciate. I mean, I appreciate you showing up here every day, but honestly, you're kind of making baseless claims here in terms of super backed, and there's really no reason for it, honestly. Like I would like, if you want to have like an actual conversation with me or come on the show and explain your reasons, but don't just throw out random comments like that, because it doesn't make any sense. What's your reservations about super backed? What's the problem with it? Like it's a wallet that was designed by the creator of the hardware wallet. The guy who created hardware wallets from Trezor, that's who created the super backed software. When you set it up, you're not connected to the internet at all. You have no hard drive in your laptop. You use a USB. You're not connected to the internet, and you never have to update that software again. It does not get any more secure than that. The guys who built this thing are literally privacy and security experts. So I understand that you have reservations. I do. It's just like, don't leave comments on here without any extra information. It's just your opinion. There's nothing backing that. So if you want to have an actual conversation about it, I would love to. But just like cut out there's just no reason for this stuff. What's a better option than super backed? If you're still in the chat, let me know what your better option of super backed is. Dizzy Willow, good morning. Yo, yo, yo. Knox Bill's in the chat. Good morning. Okay, so it adds complexity. That's your issue with it? How doesn't it provide plausible deniability? Nobody can gain access to it except you. That's why I love superbacked, because if you think about what the comparison, the alternatives to superbacked are, you have places like CASA, I think, is one. Unchained is another. Those are like collaborative custody models, which are the closest competitor to superbacked protocol. And if you think about a company like Unchained, and you think about the process there, number one, they have all your information. They have your name. They know how much Bitcoin you hold. They have a key to that Bitcoin. And if the government ever decided that they don't want us using Bitcoin anywhere, they could subpoena superbacked, or they could subpoena Unchained. Whereas on the flip side of that, with superbacked, the whole process itself, there's no KYC. We don't need to know your name. You don't need to tell anybody your name. There's no KYC. We have no idea what you're keeping in your balance. We have no idea how much Bitcoin you have. We have no idea what information is in your superbacked text box. We have none of that. That's all on you. If the government came after us and said, we want people's information of what they're keeping in superbacked, we don't have a record of it. We have no idea what people keep in their superbacked text box. I don't know what you mean by you can't provide plausible deniability. That makes no sense. You can absolutely provide plausible deniability because we don't know what's in there. You could say that you lost the key to it. That's plausible deniability to me. And no more security than a BIP39 passphrase. This is kind of stupid, honestly. And I don't mean to get mad. It's just like there's nothing there. It adds complexity. Yes, that's why I'm not telling people to do it on day one. This is like the evolution of your security setup. The superbacked is at the end of that. It should be complex. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? All right. Sorry. Oh, here's a shout out. We got Bitcoin Generations. This is happening today. Bodhi, what time is this happening today? Holy fuck. What just happened here? Okay. First of all, Duncan sent 1,000 sats. So thank you, Duncan. It says from Duncan, 1,000 sats. But we have the new highest zap in 88 sats history here. Somebody just sent in 102,260 sats. I don't know what to say to that, honestly. That's pretty special. Thank you. I have a pretty good idea of who that was. And I'm thinking it was the last record holder of the highest zap. So 102,000 sats. I shouldn't even probably be talking about that online. Somebody's going to look back in 10 years on this show and say, holy fuck, that guy got a zap of 100,000 sats. I'm working 10 years now for 100,000 sats. Wow. Thank you. Okay, well that brightens my mood after Captain Codeman put me in a bad mood. So yeah, anyways, thank you so much for that. That's beyond words of what that means to me. So anyways, Bitcoin generations today. Let me bring this up. And if you don't have zaps to send, if you don't want to send in your sats, I have no issues with that. I understand. But the one thing that you can do for the show, if you've been learning anything, if you've been getting any sort of value from the show here, is make sure you subscribe to a few of our friends' channels here. I don't know if I can even find it here or not. Let me get it up here. Okay, here it is. So let me post this in the chat here. Make sure you go, please take some time today. Take like 5 seconds. Go subscribe to Bodhi's new channel. It's called Bitcoin Generations. We're doing a show today. We're doing a live show. I think it's at 11. I'm going to have to check on that. Bodhi, can you shoot me a message? I don't know if you're still watching, but leave a chat here somewhere and let me know what time this starts at. But anyways, that's the link. Please go over there and subscribe. That's Bodhi's channel that I'm going to be working with him on. And let me bring this up here for you to see. So you make sure you got the right channel. Again, take like 3 seconds here right now and just hop over and support Bodhi. What we're doing there is we're trying to make a channel that's kind of starting from zero, targeted towards mostly baby boomers, but really anybody who's just getting into Bitcoin. So I would say that this channel is a little bit more advanced in terms of for beginners, my channel. But Bitcoin Generations, we're basically going to be starting from zero, talking to baby boomers, but anybody else who wants to show up there and learn some things about Bitcoin, that's the place to do it. So go check out Bodhi's channel. Please press the subscribe button. Let them know you want to see more videos, and we'll keep growing that over there. Another couple shout outs I wanted to give today is while we're here, I didn't do a very good job of getting through the chats there. But anyways, we got 299 subscribers on the Bitcoin Amigos right now. We can get that to 300 easy today. So while you're subscribing, make sure you go check out the Bitcoin Amigos. That's our Friday show that we do every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. And look at that nice graphic for this week. Friday Amigo Royale, prosperity, freedom, and tunes. I love that. So that's Bitcoin Amigos. Make sure you go over there. If you're not a subscriber already, please subscribe to that channel. If you want to, obviously, I'm not going to beg you to, but it would mean a lot to me and to the channel here. Another one here, Jerry Loves Freedom. He's been killing it, man. He's been doing daily shows every night. He talks about the Bitcoin numbers and news. Pretty entertaining. I've been watching the last couple. And he's also started doing his door dashing for Satoshis, which I love. I love that kind of stuff. Pretty interesting. So I'm a big fan of Jerry. He's one of the 3 Bitcoin Amigos. Everybody's an Amigo, but one of the 3 Bitcoin Amigos. And then, of course, the guy who creates all the best tunes within Bitcoin for the Bitcoin Amigos album. Fractal Bitcoin. Chris, he's the guy who does all the designs. He's the guy who does all the songs. He's kind of the host of the show, and he does a really good show himself almost every day, talking about the news within Bitcoin. And he's a very, very entertaining guy. I love Chris. Love Chris and Jerry, both those guys. So Fractal Bitcoin, make sure you go check out their channel, subscribe to their channel, support them any way you can, because we are all on Team Bitcoin. We're all amigos and we're all on Team Bitcoin. So do everything that you can to support, whether that's zaps, whether that's likes, whether that's subscribing, anything. Push forward Team Bitcoin here. Nothing can stop Team Bitcoin. What was the other thing there? Oh, that's what I liked when Jerry said that yesterday. He said, if you like the Bitcoin Amigos, you can actually get the Amigos every single day. You start with the Bitcoin journey in the morning. Then you watch Chris in the afternoon about the news. And then you watch Jerry at night. He posts his videos a little bit later at night. So every day you get myself, Chris, Jerry. I don't know. You just can't really have too much Bitcoin content. You can't, because everybody sees things a little bit differently. Everybody has different points. You could watch 20 different shows, learn 20 different things, and there's just like a never-ending rabbit hole. So make sure when you are taking your time and energy, make sure you're supporting Bitcoiners, Bitcoin onlyers, and appreciate that. Morning, Josh, Ontario. Morning, Jor and Arnie. Where the hell is Arnie? Arnie, you want to come hang out for a few minutes, bud? Everybody wants to see you, including me. Oh, man, Maverick, you're speaking my language here, man. Orange Man has become a symbol for the destruction of the corrupted system. The man will go down as, I'll change this, the man will go down as the greatest president of all time. A fact lost on the average person. Yep. Trump derangement syndrome, people are going to struggle. Bitcoin derangement syndrome, people are going to struggle. And it's really just their inability to have an open mind and to actually look at objective facts versus taking all the bullshit every day and let it just marinate in their brains. Bunny, good morning. All right, what's going on here? Oh, look at this. Tire Doctor says Trump has a rally speech planned on the 19th. So that would be a Sunday, I think, because the Monday is the 20th when he takes office. Maverick, I just said you're talking my language. Said conspiracy theorists have been proven correct repeatedly over the last 8 years. Reality is setting in, and the people are waking up to it. It's wild. It's wild to see this whole thing actually play out, because the last 4 years have been pretty fucking painful. When you see something that nobody else sees, and you're called a crazy person, you're called an anti-vaxxer, you're called a conspiracy theorist. Like the shit that we went through over these last 4 years, I think people have very much forgotten what we went through. And I'm kind of just in a hyped up mood right now, kind of like pissed off, kind of excited. I'm in a weird mood. But like 2 years ago, I wasn't able to go into a fucking restaurant here because I refused to put something into my arm that they told me to do. I wasn't allowed to go to my brother's wedding because I refused to put a medical experiment into my arm. Thank God the wedding was postponed and I was able to go. But there was a time, weeks before the wedding, where I was not allowed to go to my own brother's wedding. I was the best man at that wedding. And her family, everybody just were going along with what was going on here. And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here. I don't understand, but I also get it. But like, we've gone through so much shit here in the last 4 years, and we're about to be rewarded in the best possible way for it. So everything that we went through is going to pay off. I have no doubt about it in my mind. And I've known that the whole time. And that's what got me through it. And I'm sure a lot of you as well. But like the shit that we went through here, that everybody's just kind of moved on from during the pandemic, is fucking insane. And I know it's still pretty fresh. It's still pretty early. I know we're going to look back on in 50 years from now and look on how dark this time was when they were doing that to people, when they were separating people, when they were breaking up marriages and friendships and work relationships and everything. The government did that. And I really hope, I don't care what happens now. I know that we're moving into a better world now, but I really hope that those people who did that to us pay for it in the worst possible way you can think of on earth and later in their journey, where whatever happens after we die in the afterlife. I hope that they pay for it on earth and significantly in the afterlife, because it is insane what they did to people. And Bitcoin to me is the only solution that gets rid of those people. It's the only way that it works. So they can buy some, they can pretend that they're on board for it. But at the end of the day, what Bitcoin does is it separates money from state. Whenever state has the ability to print money and control people, we're toast. And so Bitcoin is a way out of that. What a wild show today. What a wild show. Okay. Hi, Ian. Hi, LVO. Good morning, everybody. What a show. I'm sorry. I don't really I don't really plan anything before the show. Sometimes shit just happens when I want to talk about it. And probably live on the internet isn't the best place to be doing it. But at the same time, I really don't care. What they did was wrong, and they need to pay for it. And it's pretty exciting here, where we get to move into here. Daniel says, metal plates, if they are found, your seed phrase is right there and in the clear. Exactly. Hardware wallets, do you still have original iPod? How about your original laptop? Is it still working? Yeah, exactly. That's the other part too. I mean, here's the thing. And I only have a couple minutes left here because we got a meeting at 10. But here's the thing. This should be your evolution of storing your backup phrase. If you got a hardware wallet, that thing is secure. That is a secure element in it. It's encrypted. You need a PIN code to access it and sign transactions. That's perfect. That's where you start. You write down your 12 words. You put it on a nice piece of paper. You don't use this piece of shit little paper that people lose. You don't use this. You put it on a nice piece of paper, a nice piece of cardboard, and you know exactly where that thing is, where nobody will ever find it. And then you get a steel plate. You punch your 24 words into there. You keep the steel plate somewhere in your house. So if there was a fire, if there was a flood, you're good. Your backup phrase is on steel. Even if your cold card burned, your steel plate is going to have your 12 words on it or your 24 words, and you're going to be able to restore that into a wallet. That's the evolution there. Hardware wallet, paper backup, cardboard backup, steel backup. And then going back to the complexity thing, in a couple of years or whenever you feel comfortable, you encrypt that backup phrase. Whatever you put on your steel plate, you encrypt that. It's hidden. So nobody can just come across it and all of a sudden have your Bitcoin. It's encrypted. So it's not something you do day one. It's an evolution. And I don't think it's good for everybody right now. I don't. But there are some people with a significant amount of Bitcoin who have the knowledge and experience that this is the best possible solution for that. And as Daniel's saying, the hardware wallets, like your cold card isn't going to last forever. And that's what the purpose of your backup phrase is if something were to happen to your cold card, if it just dies, if it burns, if somebody steals it, if you lose it, that's what your backup phrase is for. And so that thing is, they don't have an unlimited shelf life. These things are probably going to be bad in 10 years. The flash memory, that's how these devices work. It's usually like a 10-year max lifespan of them. And so when you go to turn it on one day and all of a sudden it doesn't turn on, that's when you need your 12, 24 words. So you want to have that encrypted. You want to make sure that that's in a just as safe, if not safer place than your actual device. Oh, man. Okay, well, we got Philip Prado, zapped 21 sats twice. Thank you, Philip. And I'm going to wrap up here. I got to about 25% of the chats here, it looks like. Do you recommend multi-sig before super backed? The nice thing about super backed is you can actually adjust it based on whatever setup you have. So let's say you have one single sig you set up super backed, you want to evolve to multi-sig, you can easily change your super backed protocol if you want to set up a multi-sig. It's not like a huge process. You just change a few things in the wallet, in the super back software, and it allows for multi-sig. So it's not like you have to do one or the other or in order. Superback is very flexible in terms of whatever your specific situation is. It doesn't make you do anything. It just holds whatever your current setup is, secures that. Okay, I see a lot of really nice comments here. And I'm really sorry that I couldn't get through them all. Yeah, there's too much. And I just don't want people to forget how bad it was. And you know, we deserve so much better than we've had it. So that's it. I got to go. I got to run. We got a meeting right now, starting now. So I didn't really mean for the show to go on this long, but man, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for the support. Thank you for these nice comments at the end. I'm not going to clear this off. I'm going to keep this up so I can read these comments after the meeting. But yeah, I appreciate it. And to whoever sent the 102,000 sat zap, you're a fucking legend. And I think I know who it is, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyways, whoever you are, thank you. And everybody else who sent in some zaps today, they are all very meaningful to me. Every single one of them. So thank you. And Arnie's going to come over here right now. So I hope you have a really good day today, a Thursday. Make sure you show up for Bitcoin Generations. Come in the live chat. Come say hi to Bodhi and I. There it is. And I'm actually doing a show with Bitcoin Not Crypto today as well. So that's later today. I don't know if that's live though or not. I think he's going to record that one and post it later. So we got a big day here, Arnie and I. So thank you once again. Have yourselves a great day. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Arnie boy.